So we all know that running your very own WordPress membership site is profitable, right? If you're trying to sell your product online or would like to earn recurring incomes, setting up your very own membership site is crucial to your success. Now, one of the biggest problems that many people don't have access to is a membership script that will allow you to complete what you want to do. And this is often because they cost a lot to run. Now, by using WordPress, you can make your site beautiful, but most plugins that integrate into WordPress are, let's say, to be honest, not great looking or user-friendly, or doesn't have all the features that you need to set up a good membership site. And a lot of times you'll buy them, you'll install them, and then you'll realize halfway that it doesn't really fulfill all of your needs. Introducing WordPress Membership KickStart. Finally, you can discover how to run your very own WordPress-based membership site by using this WordPress plugin. This is a 8-part video course that is designed to show you exactly how to quickly and easily brainstorm, plan, and set your WordPress membership site up. Now, here's a quick video's overview of what's inside this video course. Number 1 is the introduction, so we'll talk about mindset and, of course, the video course as a whole. Video number 2, we'll talk about mapping out your product menu. And video number 3, we'll talk about mapping out your membership site funnel, which is crucial. And this is a big part that a lot of people miss out on and forget, and then it ruins everything else. Because how are you going to know what WordPress membership plugin you're going to need if you don't have an idea of what your site funnel looks like? And then, of course, video number 4, we're going to talk about different types of WordPress membership plugins that are available to you so that you can get access to them and pick and choose which one actually is going to be compatible to what you're trying to achieve. Video number 5, we're going to talk about accessing it, installing it, and getting started. Video number 6, we're going to talk about creating a product or membership level, because you have different levels depending on different scenarios where somebody is. Maybe they bought certain things, maybe somebody bought some more, and you need to segment them into different levels. Video number 7, we're going to talk about content and file protection. And of course, video number 8, we're going to talk about completion. So with that said, go ahead and grab this course now so that you can start building your very own WordPress membership site today. Hello and welcome to video number 7. We are going to talk about content and file protection. Okay, so once you've connected your levels, your payment services, and everything else, you created your login buttons and all that, now we can begin to protect the content. So I'm going to show you everything there is to protect the content. So obviously, first things first, we need to create pages, right? And we need to say that who has access to certain pages. Now, if you go to general options, you'll actually be able to specify the pages, the default pages. So in order to create the register page, you have to go to pages, click add new, create your register page, and then specify that that is the register page. The login page, the logout page, the TOS, which is basically your privacy policy or terms of service page, and your lost password page as well. So if you go click on add new here, and I'm going to open the levels page as well so we can go back to it later on. It's actually very easy to create these pages. So for example, before we name the page, if we scroll down here to the right hand side, you're going to see membership pro page type. You're going to see register page, lost password on all these pages, right? So register, let's go ahead and create the register page. So let's type in register. And in this box, you need to be under the visual tab, but in this box, you click on MP shortcodes, and then you're going to see all of these forms pop up. So all you have to do is click on register form, and it's going to pull in the register form. We're going to set that as register page, and you can show this page only for, let's say, paid levels. So somebody pays, they are able to register. If they're on the free level, or if they're not on the paid level, you can redirect them to a different page, like grab access, purchase, or buy. If not, you can also replace the content with a different piece of content. So now you can see this content box has popped up. So if somebody who is not a paid member comes to the site or page, they will see a different content. So that's really nice to have, and you can pull this in and replace it with different content. So that's that, and we click on save when we're done. And you have other things like here, down here. So let me scroll down here before I click save. But you can actually drip feed content as well. So if this one, let's say was module 1 or module 2, you could have it drip feed over a span of days. So you can release this instantly or after a certain amount of days or on a specific date. And you can expire the content never on a certain period or on a specific date. So of course, when you're ready to complete the page, you click on publish, and there you go. So you're good to go for the register page. So now we could go back to the general options, and we can see that the register page has already been chosen because we chose it over here. So in fact, when you do things over here, they're automatically going to happen over here. So let's go ahead and work on the login page. If we click on add new and work on the login page, we go down to this box, click on MP shortcodes, and click on login form. And that's it. That's how easy it is. You don't need to know any code, or you don't have to set up your own login form or anything like that. Now you can show the page only for, let's say, I think login tends to be public. So we're not going to limit or protect the content by any means. So we're going to set this as the login page, and that's pretty much it. So the login page, pretty simple. Click on publish. We're going to click on add new. And then the next page we have the lost password page. So click on MP shortcodes and password recovery. So lost password. This is public, so it doesn't really need to be protected content wise. And we're good there. We click on add new. And then of course we have redirect page. We have the logout page. We have the TOS page, which is basically your privacy policy. So you can put TOS or terms of service, enter your privacy policy here. And of course, everybody should be able to view that, so you don't have to protect that content. And of course, account user page. So user page, user access. And we're going to click publish. So it's just a matter of going through the process and setting everything up properly. All right. So I think you pretty much have the hang of it now. The TOS page, the logout page, and the redirect page. The logout page is nice to have, especially if you're going to promote something similar. So if somebody is logging out of a website, let's say that is about dog training, then the logout page, you can log out and you can show them a different offer related to dog training. So you can actually increase your monetization factor as far as this goes. So those are the default pages. And of course, if we go back to general options here, we can see that all the pages have been specified except for the logout and the TOS page. And of course, we have default redirects here. So we're good to go as far as that goes, as far as creating the content and protecting it. Now, what we can do is I want to go back to levels because I want to show you how to protect the content for a specific level. So let's say, for example, that we have module 1. And kind of going back to the mind map that we had set up earlier, module 1 has, a bunch of free awesome content. And we want to show this page only for free and paid levels. So basically, unless they are actually registered on your system as a free member and they are an actual active member, they won't see module 1. So basically you can set it so that the public people cannot see the actual module 1. They have to register first. And of course they'll see it if they pay. Now if not, you can redirect them to, get access, sign up as a free member. Different page, right? So we're not setting this as the logout page, so I'm going to set at ... We can release it at a certain time if we want, but in this case, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to click on publish because I want everybody to see it, free or paid. Next, we got the module 2. So we click on add new page, module 2. And then we know this is paid content only. So paid content only. Now, if we go back to levels over here and we look on the paid content, remember we see these short codes here? So we're going to copy these short codes. And the nice thing about this is you can put the short code here and you can put the content here. Now, if you're going to do, like, let's say module 1 is just for paid only, you don't really need to use that. I'll actually show you, and I'll go back to module 1 and I'll show you in just a minute. But for module 2, because it's paid only, we can show the page only for paid level only. Otherwise, we redirect them to, get access, purchase, all that product, right? So module 2, let's say module 2 is instantaneously. So we don't need to drip feed that yet because that is the first paid product or paid module, and we click on publish. So that's how to protect your content essentially. Now, if we go back to module 1, because I think that's a really good example here. If we go to module 1, and we know it's restricted to paid level and free level, right? So if we copy these short codes from the level section over here, so let's copy this over here. So we know the first one is free and the second one is paid. So that ID is 1 and ID is 2. Now, what we can do here is module 1, you can give a lot of free content, right? But you can set it so when somebody buys and pays, they get this plus, they get this and maybe a welcome video plus more awesome content. So what this says is within module 1, if a free level member is viewing this page, they're only going to see this. If a paid level member is going to be seeing this page, they are going to see this. So this allows you to kind of differentiate and show people, you're a paid level now, you get access to all the content. So this gives you the flexibility to kind of show different content on the page itself. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on update here. And let's go ahead and click on add new. And let's make some public content, a free blog post of some sort. So let's do blog post 1, and you have some awesome free publicly available content. But then you have a video content piece that you want to make it so that it's locked. So you click on MP locker here. You can say hide content only for a certain level, or you can show content only for paid level. So you can hide content or show content. So you can show content for paid level or even free level. So if this is the public, you might want to get them into the free level first before you get them into the paid level. So free level, click save. And there you go. So what this does is now you see here, there's a bracket here. So, and then there's a bracket that continues here. So what you need to do to enter the content is put your mouse or your bar here, and then do this, and then put the content inside here. So that would be the video content. So that's kind of how you lock it and you protect it from certain levels, right? So if you want to change this, however, where it says who equals one is the free level, and then paid level in my case is 2. So if we go back here, this is level 1 and this is level 2. So if I want to change this to 2, I could, or you can simply use the MP locker as well. So that's a really neat little feature that you can use to lock content and protect content, and at the same time allow the public to view a piece of content, certain levels to view a piece of content, and more. So once you're done, you can of course click publish, and you're good to go. So that's as far as content and file protection goes. That's pretty much it. So if that makes sense and that seems pretty easy to you, then you're going to be able to set things up pretty quick. Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on how to set up your very own WordPress membership site. So this is going to be video number 1, and before we jump into the technical aspect of implementation and installing the WordPress plugin and getting everything set up, I want to talk about mindset. There is a specific reason why we have laid out the video course the way it is, and you'll see in just a minute. But basically, the whole goal is to not overwhelm you, because it's actually not overwhelming once you have mapped out everything correctly. Meaning that you have mapped out what is your site going to look like, what are the customers going to see, what kind of levels do they have access to, everything like that. How are you going to deliver your content? How are you going to drip feed it? So you see, not mapping out your site ahead of time, not figuring out what exactly you want to do, or at least a baseline of what you want to do, is going to confuse you like crazy. And when you begin to implement everything and look at the technical aspect, it just won't make sense, right? So to give you kind of a deeper view of how everything is laid out and why everything is laid out, so that you're able to implement it faster, at a much faster rate, very successfully, let me give you a quick overview of what's in this video course. So obviously video number 1 is this particular video. Video number 2 is mapping out your product menu. Now, the reason why you want to do this is you want to get an idea of what the customer sees when they first log in. And then you want to map out your membership site funnel so that you can get a bird's eye view of how many levels there are, how are you going to drip feed it, are you going to release all the content within a week or at one time or within a month? How are you going to go about doing that? So you don't have to worry right now about how you're going to do it, but what you're going to do. Because I will talk about the how from video 5 and on. So at video 4, we're going to discuss different WordPress membership plugins that are available to you. And I'll show you the ones that we have looked at, the ones we have tested, and the ones that we have found to be really, really user-friendly and makes things look good. Video number 5, we're going to talk about accessing, install it, and customizing it and getting started. Video number 6, we're going to talk about creating a product, creating a membership site level, because that's crucial, and that's kind of the structure or skeleton, if you can think of that way, of your site. Video number 7, we're going to talk about content and file protection, because obviously you want to make sure that you protect your content, your files, from people who have not paid for your product. And that essentially also protects your customers as well. And of course, video number 8, we're going to talk about completion. We're going to do everything that we can to show you how to go from that point of content and file protection to actually setting everything up so that you're good to go. So these videos right here will primarily be screen capture based. You'll be able to follow me step by step on the screen, and these over here videos 1 through 4 are going to be primarily conceptual, but at the same time they're the fundamentals and they're things that you have to think about before you move to video 5 to 8. All right, so now that you kind of understand what's ahead and what to expect, now let's go ahead and jump right into video number 2 and talk about mapping out your product menu. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2, and we're going to talk about mapping out your product menu. And the reason why we want to do this is because we want to make sure that we understand what your customers are going to see. So before we map out your whole membership site, let's take a look at your product. And you'll see in just a minute why we are taking baby steps and we're taking a look at what the people see first before we take a look at the membership site funnel. This is why. You see, it's crucial to have an idea of how your tutorial, your video course, your ebook, your software, your digital product, or whatever you're trying to sell is actually broken down into different modules. So in other words, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a parent-child hierarchy so that you can keep your membership site organized. So we're taking a look at essentially the inside pages of your actual membership site. So here's what I mean, and it doesn't really have to get any complex at all. So let's say, for example, that you have module 1, module 2, module 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or something. So module 1 would look something like this. So you would have module 1, subtopic 1, subtopic 2, subtopic 3. So if this was a video course, your module 1 could be like intro, and maybe subtopic 1 could be like the getting started. Number 2 could be like different tools that you would need. Number 3 would be something else. Now that would obviously be easy for something like a tutorial, a video course, or an ebook. But if you're dealing with something like software, and maybe you could have like the welcome video, you could have access to the software, and then maybe module 2, you could have the video training for that specific piece of software. Now, if you had coaching, if you had consulting, same thing. You would have just breakdown of all of your subtopics. So same with module 2, module 3, and so forth. Now, if you just lay it all out and you have a better idea of how everything is broken down into, then guess what? As far as getting everything set up, your pages and all of that, it's going to be a really, really fast process, right? So that's as simple as that. Just lay it all out, write down module 1. What is module 1? What is subtopic 1? What is subtopic 2 and 3? And if you have an outline, and you can literally create the outline within less than half an hour or an hour. And once you have that, and once you create your whole membership site, all the levels, all the pages, then you can literally go in and just plug and play, plug it in, and then get it up and running, and you're good to go. So literally what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you all the pieces of the puzzle in baby steps, so that when you implement everything, it's going to be a lot more faster. All right. So with that said, let's move on to video number 3. Congratulations, you've reached the end of this video course. This is video number 8, and we are going to complete this membership site and go over all we need to go over to give you an idea about how to finalize your WordPress membership site. So what I want to do now is just go through the areas that I was not able to cover in the other sections of the video, and just make sure that you understand clearly how to utilize the membership site and membership script to the max. Now, we covered users, we covered levels, we covered payment services. Inside lockers, it's just what you're doing is you're creating different designs, what it looks like, so that when you create the lock content on the page itself, over here, then you can pick and choose the design, right? So over here, I have one locked piece of content, but basically if we click on edit here, you're going to be able to see what it looks like. So this is a locker name, content 1, and locker template. They have many different templates that you can pick and choose from. So they have default. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to see this here. And if you can check login form so that they don't see the login form. You can choose different templates like basic. You kind of have to scroll down, which is unfortunate, but click zipped. You can see what it looks like. You can do star. It looks like that. You can remove the additional links and just have the login form like that. So, and you can also display the social media login, which I will say is nice to have because a lot of people may not really want to create a new account, but they're okay when it comes to actually utilizing their social media login because they want to have, something that's easy to log in and view the content. So quick and easy definitely can help a lot. So once you're done with that, you just go down, click on save, and then we can refresh the page. And we can see that it's updated here. Now what we need to do is just go back to the page where we want to lock the content, right? And when we create MP locker here, you're going to see choose locker, and then you're going to see all the different designs and styles. So you're basically creating a template. So that's something that I wasn't able to cover in the previous video that I wanted to cover in that particular video. Now we have showcases, which allows you to create registration forms, login forms, subscription plans, and account pages. Now, as you saw earlier, this is what we pull into the actual pages. So what this does is allows you to customize it. So if you don't like the look and design of it, you can pick and choose a different template design here. So that's really what this allows you to do is change the design, change the form settings, change the, different settings. You can do double email verification. So that means somebody has to actually verify that they own that email address for them to actually continue. So there are other settings here, which makes it allows you to customize it a little further. And if we go back here, you can do the same with the login form, the subscription plan, and of course the account page. Now, remember the social logins will not work unless you actually click on one of these and then you connect the Facebook API and ID and settings and everything like that. In order to properly do it, you have to follow these instructions here, which is not complex at all. You just follow them, you get the application ID and the application secret, and that's pretty much all you have to do. And then of course you'll see this light up and it'll be colored, and you can also integrate it with Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, and all these other ones here. Typically, generally speaking, you probably only want to do a few. So if you want to do the general most popular ones, it would be Facebook, Twitter, and Google. And of course you can add coupons, which we went over earlier. We went over URL blocks and transactions, which is just a list of transactions. And of course you have notifications. So notifications basically are the actual emails that people receive. So this allows you to customize the email, a lot further. So you have usernames and you have placeholders here. So you can simply say hi, first and last name, and you can customize it further by utilizing these fields over here. Then of course, if we talked about opt-in settings and we talked about general settings. So once you've set up everything, you're pretty much good to go. Now, as far as posts go, if you click on add new post here, you can protect post just as the same as you can protect pages. So you can see that here. You can also drip feed the content only, and the drip feed will only appear if you actually choose a certain level. All right, so you can see that shows up here. So that's pretty much it. And once you get the hang of this, and as you can see, it's really not complex at all compared to a lot of other WordPress plugins. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoy teaching you. And please take action. Welcome back. This is video number 3, and we are going to map out your membership site funnel. And I will actually show you how we map out membership sites so that you have a better idea on how to use flowchart tools to map yours out as well. Now, before we do that, let's talk about some basics here. So now that you have a breakdown of what your customers will see on the inside, it's time to get a bigger bird's eye view of your whole site in detail. So before we actually go into the technical setup in video 4 through 8, what we need to do is you need to actually get a brainstorm, get a plan in your head of what everything looks like, and this will actually help you implement everything at a faster rate and at actually a more successful rate as well. So the question to you should be, how many levels will you have? 1, 2, 3 to pay levels. Maybe you have a basic level, a silver level, a gold level, or maybe you have 3 different levels. You need to figure that out. Are these levels going to segment people into different scenarios? Maybe one level is access to a video course. Another level is access to a video course and software. Or maybe another level is at a higher level is essentially the video course, software, and maybe coaching. So that's something that you need to figure out. And aside from what you did in video number 2, this allows you to kind of see what kind of front-end offers, upsells, one-time offers you have, and how you can segment people into those different levels or different pages. And if you're able to map things out now, it's actually going to make life a lot easier when you begin to implement everything. Now, since you've done the task in video number 2, or at least now you have an idea about breaking things up and how your customers will get the content or see the content, the question now is, how are you going to deliver the content? And this is what we call drip feeding. So the way you can set it up is you can set up a membership site. Let's say you have a monthly membership site. You can set it up so they get module 1, maybe for the first month, module 2, the second month, via what we call drip feeding. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You can have module 1 on one day, module 2 next week, module 3 the next week. Or you can do something like module 1 the first 2 days, module 2 the second 2 days, and so forth. So really what it comes down to is you can actually specify how you want it to be drip fed. Or will everybody get everything all at once? So that's something that you really need to figure out right now before you actually begin the setup process. And this is a crucial thing to think about, especially if you're trying to set up a monthly recurring membership site where you earn profit every single month. And the reason being is because if you want to do drip feeding, you need to know that ahead of time. And fortunately, the software that we will be using does offer some of these functionalities. And it allows you to kind of become a bridge to connect to PayPal, to connect to Stripe, which is a credit card processing system, and Authorize.net, and other payment processors. So really that's what you need to find in a script is, does it allow you to do what you are trying to do, right? So you may want to use whatever mind mapping program that you want to use, but we are going to use Lucidchart because Lucidchart is a really awesome mind mapping flowchart system, which allows you to kind of break things down, map out what you're trying to set up. And once you have decided on, okay, this is good, we like it, we like how it looks like, we like the flow of the funnel, then you can move on to the next video and begin the setup process and utilizing the script, installing WordPress, and more. But before you do that, make sure that you do everything that you can to plan things out. Now I'm going to switch over to Lucidchart, which is a flowchart system, and we are going to map out a basic monthly membership site. And of course, you can add on to that if you so choose to do so later on. Okay, so as I stated earlier, this process is crucial as part of trying to figure out what your WordPress membership site is going to look like. So I would recommend doing this for this thing. You don't really need to have Lucidchart. You can use other mind mapping softwares if you want to, or you can use a pen and paper and just map it out. I just like to use Lucidchart simply because that it allows me to drag and drop. I just like things digital. So it's really up to you. It doesn't really mean that you have to use this. So we start out with the membership site. You need to figure out, do you have free levels? Do you have paid levels? Maybe in order to get to the paid level, so we'll say this is the paid level, and we can say that this is $37 per month. And maybe there is a free level that people can join, and maybe it only gives access to certain things, maybe access to module 1. And then the pay level gives access to module 2 through 10. And then that's per month. And then of course you can add other things to it as well. Now, notice how I start here. So we start general and then we break it down. So we could say, okay, let's put this down here. And we could say up here we have module 1. Module 2 and module 3. Now, for the sake of just simplicity, let's say max we have 3 modules. So let's see here. What we need to do is we need to figure out, how are we going to give the modules? Are we going to give it all at one time, every week, every day, or every month? So that's something you got to figure out. Now, obviously, if you have a recurring membership site that just continues on and on and on and on forever, you will probably need to add more modules if it is like a video course. If it's a piece of software, then of course that would make sense to charge a monthly fee if you bringing out updates and things like that. But for video courses and digital products like ebooks, you can't really charge recurring unless there's some sort of like maybe coaching involved or some sort of recurring item involved. So that's just something to think about. Like, will the modules maybe be weekly webinars? Will they be updates to your software, or monthly coaching or weekly coaching? What is it going to look like so it is actually worth for people to pay a monthly fee? So we can see, and we got to figure out, okay, how are these being delivered? So let's say that each module will be delivered every week. So we'll do weekly, and you may not be able to see it, but I'll increase the font here. But the nice thing about Lucidchart is you can connect these two, you can double click the line, and you can actually specify what the line is going to be. So this case, we'll just make this weekly as well, like so. And there we go. So now you see that if you specify weekly, when you look for a WordPress plugin, you need to find something that will drip feed. And so that's the key word, is drip feeding. That means that you can specify the system to say, hey, once module 1 is released, and if they're on the free level, that's fine. They can get it forever. But if they're on the paid level, then they get module 1, they get module 2, and module 3. If they're free level, they only have module 1. So this is why mapping out is so crucial, because when it gets to the technical setup, you're not going to know what to do, especially if you got a massive site funnel or it just gets really complex. So that's kind of the basics of a membership site here. But what we need to do is figure out, okay, what is this going to look like? Are these going to be videos? So further, you can break it down further up here. And we can say, each module has, like module 1 has a welcome video. So welcome video, make it bigger. And what does it have? Module 2 has maybe monthly live webinar. So just go through it and break it down like we did in video number 2. We broke it down so that you can kind of see what the user sees. Now, by doing so, this will allow you to figure out, okay, module 1 has got a welcome video. What do I need to use to upload the video? Am I going to use YouTube? I'm going to use Vimeo. Jot that down, write everything down so that you know all the technology that is involved to get you up and running. All right. So this is kind of basic, but there's a lot of other things that you can do, and I will show you that and show you what's available out there as far as WordPress plugins goes and what they can do. And then of course, by knowing that, you can compare the different plugins that are available and see if they actually match up to what you're trying to do. All right. So with that said, let's move on to the next video and we'll talk about different WordPress plugins. So we all know that running your very own WordPress membership site is profitable, right? If you're trying to sell your product online or would like to earn recurring incomes, setting up your very own membership site is crucial to your success. Now, one of the biggest problems that many people don't have access to is a membership script that will allow you to complete what you want to do. And this is often because they cost a lot to run. Now, by using WordPress, you can make your site beautiful, but most plugins that integrate into WordPress are, let's say, to be honest, not great looking or user-friendly, or doesn't have all the features that you need to set up a good membership site. And a lot of times you'll buy them, you'll install them, and then you'll realize halfway that it doesn't really fulfill all of your needs. Introducing WordPress Membership KickStart. Finally, you can discover how to run your very own WordPress-based membership site by using this WordPress plugin. This is a 8-part video course that is designed to show you exactly how to quickly and easily brainstorm, plan, and set your WordPress membership site up. Now, here's a quick video's overview of what's inside this video course. Number 1 is the introduction, so we'll talk about mindset and, of course, the video course as a whole. Video number 2, we'll talk about mapping out your product menu. And video number 3, we'll talk about mapping out your membership site funnel, which is crucial. And this is a big part that a lot of people miss out on and forget, and then it ruins everything else. Because how are you going to know what WordPress membership plugin you're going to need if you don't have an idea of what your site funnel looks like? And then, of course, video number 4, we're going to talk about different types of WordPress membership plugins that are available to you so that you can get access to them and pick and choose which one actually is going to be compatible to what you're trying to achieve. Video number 5, we're going to talk about accessing it, installing it, and getting started. Video number 6, we're going to talk about creating a product or membership level, because you have different levels depending on different scenarios where somebody is. Maybe they bought certain things, maybe somebody bought some more, and you need to segment them into different levels. Video number 7, we're going to talk about content and file protection. And of course, video number 8, we're going to talk about completion. So with that said, go ahead and grab this course now so that you can start building your very own WordPress membership site today. Okay, so welcome back. This is video number 4, and we're going to talk about which WordPress membership plugin is best. Now, here's the thing. Best can often be subjective, and that's why knowing how your membership site is mapped out is crucial. So some of you may require one plugin while others may require another. And that's why in video number 3, we mapped everything out. So what I want to do in this specific video is to show you different WordPress plugins that are available to you that we have tested and approved to be really good WordPress membership site plugins. And that way you can take a look at them. Don't buy them just yet until you really have figured out, can this WordPress plugin really fulfill all of the needs that are on my mind map? So once you've done that, that's fine. You can go ahead and get access to them. But a lot of people make the mistake of getting access to a plugin and only about midway or even at the very end, figuring out that it can't do something that is crucial to their needs. So let's take a look at several of the WordPress plugins so that you can understand why, and then we'll be using one plugin in particular that actually costs less while I can actually do more. Okay, so before we dive in and we talk about the different WordPress membership plugins that are available to you, I want to talk about some of the things that you should look for in WordPress plugins that should be standard. If they're not there, then that's probably something, a WordPress plugin that you want to pass on, because it should be standard and it should be included in the majority of WordPress plugins that allow you to run a membership site. So obviously having multi-levels is crucial. You should be able to have free membership levels, paid membership levels. You should obviously be able to restrict pages or protect your content. You should be able to accept different payment processors such as PayPal, such as Authorize.net, such as Stripe, or to checkout. But the majority ones and the basic ones should at least be PayPal or some sort of credit card system like Stripe. You should be able to take recurring payments such as daily, weekly, or monthly. Social login is not always required. That's an option that you can have, but that's always definitely nice to have. Menu protection, that should be basic so that you can have different scenarios where maybe the free level only has access to certain menu items versus the pay level. Let's say you have two pay levels. One pay level has access to a different modules. So those different modules are different pages and different menu items. Coupons are definite. Having a free or paid trial is also standard. Drip feeding content, so we can release the modules every week, every month, every so often. So drip feeding should be standard nowadays. Email verification, that's pretty much standard, but some of them don't have it. Content locking means that you can lock any content inside a page. And that's not always the case, but generally speaking, you can, as long as you can lock a page, that's pretty much fine. Now, a lot of these are optional. Conditional logic is also nice, where you can say, if somebody has purchased this item, then they get access to this item. Now, that's not available with everything, but that's nice to have. And it's also nice if the membership script can integrate with email marketing autoresponders, such as your GetResponse or Aweber or any type of autoresponder, so that you can be actually building your list. Now, as you can see, PayPal, Stripe should be a pretty standard because a lot of people have PayPal accounts. Some people don't have PayPal accounts, so that they're going to want to use Stripe or some sort of credit card system. So bank transfer is also nice. Custom currencies are also nice, but those are typically not as standard. Now, if we take a look at other ones of these, like membermouse.com is one that we highly recommend. There is I believe, an ongoing fee. So if you go to pricing, you can take a look at the updated pricing points. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll be able to get an idea of what it costs. So it's about $20 a month for the basic, and as you make money, you can upgrade to something like the $99 per month. Now with MemberMouse, it's nice because they're constantly updating their system, and that's what you're really getting into. You can also get access to a lot of unique things like self-service or auto-locking shared accounts. So if someone buys from you and you don't want them to share it with, let's say, 100 people, A lot of WordPress plugin scripts out there don't have this mechanism. So this means that if they share more than, let's say, 3 people at a time, it'll automatically lock their account. So you don't have to be worrying, about 100 people accessing your files and eating up your bandwidth and you having to pay for your bandwidth and all that. It also offers reporting and analytics. This pretty much should be standard on most WordPress plugins. However, some have less, some have more. MemberMouse tends to have a lot more. So membermouse.com, you can go ahead and check that out and see if that is good for you. Another WordPress membership plugin that is pretty popular and that is very powerful at the same time is called Wishlist. And that is wishlistproducts.com. Don't go to wishlist.com, but go to wishlistproducts.com. Now, if you go to features, you can see what is offered. So they offer unlimited membership levels, sequential content delivery, which is basically drip feeding. It integrates into your WordPress site, so that's given. It's got shopping cart integration. So it integrates into PayPal, ClickBank, and a lot of other different types of shopping carts. Now, this would be good if you're more advanced and if you want to integrate in Infusionsoft. It's got, membership options. So we got free, trial, paid membership levels. So that's definitely good. So if you wanted to let people into your site and say, hey, you can get access to the membership level if you pay $7 for 7 days or for 3 days, and then it'll charge you this amount of money per month or one-time fee afterwards. So that would be a trial, giving people a taste of what you're having to offer. There's membership management and multi-level access. You can click view more features to kind of get an idea of what other features they have. So apart from what you have in your mind map over here, you can take a look at what is available so then you get ideas on what you could possibly add on to this. So you can see it integrates with all these other different systems here. So if you want a WordPress plugin that integrates into JVZoo, which is a shopping cart system, and maybe go to webinar so you can do live webinars and connect to, let's say, Aweber so you can build a list, then you want to make sure that this actually matches everything that is listed on here. If it doesn't, you got to move on and find something that does. That's why I say it's kind of subjective in the sense that really what it comes down to is what are your needs, because every needs are different. So that's Wishlist Member. The next one is called Amember Pro. Now, Amember is not a WordPress plugin, so keep that in mind. The reason why I'm showing you this, however, is it does integrate into WordPress, but it's not an actual WordPress plugin. But in my opinion, it is probably one of the best membership scripts out there, simply because it's been around for a long, long time. It's been around almost a decade, and it has a huge backing of tons and tons of updates over the years, and they are pretty much the place to go to for membership scripts. Plus, they have really good customer support. I've contacted their support. I've asked them to, set up my site, install my site, even migrate my site from other membership scripts as well. So, and to be honest, they charged about $80 to do things that would normally cost several $100s to get somebody else to do for you, or even several hundred, 500, or even 1,000. I've had to hire them to, develop a script that would connect to a different payment processor that was not available to any other scripts, and they did that literally for a couple $100s. So just keep that in mind. Customer support is also important as well. So what I recommend that you do is that if that is a concern, contact the customer support of the WordPress plugin owner or whatever script that you bought and see how they react, see how well they help you. So Amember Pro is really great. It allows you to connect to hundreds and hundreds of different payment systems. You can, translate into 6 different languages. You can connect to forums. You can connect to WordPress. You connect to a lot of different other platforms as well. So I wanted to throw that out for you, even though this is not a WordPress plugin, but it really takes things to a whole new level. Now, as far as plugins go, the plugin that we are going to be using is located on a site called codecannon.net. That is codecannon, as you can see up here, .net. All right, so if you go here and you type in Ultimate Membership Pro WordPress plugin, in fact, if you can type Ultimate Membership Pro, you go to the search box, click paste or type that in, and you'll find it is here. All right, so we actually looked through tons and tons of WordPress plugins. A lot of them cost a lot of money. As you can see, they cost, $50, $99 per month, or sometimes upper to, $297 one-time fee. So if you're on a budget, the Ultimate Membership Pro WordPress plugin actually works pretty well. In fact, we've tested it out, we've spent hours on it, and we really like it. Now, as you can see, it is compatible with all sorts of different platforms. Primarily WordPress, but is also compatible with things like easy digital downloads or e-commerce or Buddy Express and more. So if you click here, let's just take a look at what it offers before we actually use it so that you can kind of see why it's actually pretty powerful compared to the price. So if you scroll down, this is what you saw earlier, and this is what I used as a measure, but you can see that you have multiple levels, you have free and paid membership, a lot of the basic stuff. You have social login, which is nice to have because it's a convenience issue. Not everyone wants to log in. They're not going to remember their password, but they do remember their social login because they log into it every day anyways. You have menu protection, which is nice. A lot of these are pretty much basic stuff. I do like the content locker, which means you can lock content inside of the page. So not all plugins I found did this. And what this means is, let's say, for example, you have a blog that is available to everybody and you have 2 videos. Maybe the first video is free, and then the second video, when they click on it, they realize that they can only get access to it if they pay for it or become a member. So those types of blogs tend to convert really well because it offers free, access to free content, but then some content is paid. So that builds that trust, that gains people's, wanting and desire to actually want to get access to the blog content. You can restrict any URL based on keywords. So that's nice. So you could say, any URL that has this keyword, lock it, restrict it to this specific scenario or this specific level. So you have custom fields, you have special fields, you have conditional logic. That's nice to have. You have, integration into email marketing autoresponders, which that should be pretty standard. But you also have integration into PayPal, Stripe to checkout and authorize.net. You can redirect content pages. You've got bank transfer. You have different templates, which is what I liked. You have really good support. You have good design. You have bulk coupons. And they're also constantly adding tons and tons of other features. So for $30 one-time fee, this is pretty much, I would say, in my opinion, one of the best WordPress plugins out there for the price. Now, if you want the other features like what Member Mouse can offer, if you can pay that amount, then I would recommend Member Mouse, probably because they're constantly updating. They got a lot of things like self-service that are options and features that are not available in these other plugins. But for the bottom line, for the budget friendly and for what it can do, this is what we recommend. And this is what we're going to be using in this particular video course. So with that said, let's move on, and I'm going to show you in videos 5, 6, 7, and 8 how to set this up and how to get it up and running for you. In video number 6, we're going to talk about creating a product or membership level so that you can create different segmented scenarios. So when somebody buys, let's say, the front end offer, they are sent access to that product. Or let's say somebody buys access to your monthly level or free level, then you can have different scenarios and different access to different things. So with that said, let's move on, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. Okay, so let's talk about levels here. So if you go to the main dashboard and you click on levels, you will see that initially for you won't see any levels at all. At the moment, I created 2 different levels, so that way you can get a better idea of how they work. But there's a free level here and there's a paid level. You know, some membership sites will have free, some will have paid, some will have multiple levels like gold, silver, bronze, and some will only have 1 level. So that's why it's really dependent on you and how you've mapped things out in your own site funnel. So given that, let me just give you some ideas so that you can see what you're able to work with here. So free levels, if we click on edit here, you can see it says level slug. That just tells you what the level is about. So as long as you can see that and you can say, okay, that level does this, and you can name it the way you want to name it, then that's the level slug. So you put free dash level. There's not any spaces. They have dashes in them. Level label is, of course, the name of the label. So people are going to see that free access. And then, of course, level access, you have lifetime, you have limited, you have date range, and you have regular period. So let me go through these so that you can understand like what exactly they mean. Lifetime means they have lifetime access to the content. So that's kind of like you could create a level that they pay $37 and they get lifetime access to all of the content that is inside. Now, that would be lifetime. If you wanted to do something like limited, and you can say for, every, 7 days or every so often, this is the level access kind of thing. And after it expires, they move to like certain levels. So you could do every month, or you could do, let's say 3 months. So you're saying that this level only lasts like 3 months. And maybe after 3 months, they get sent to a different level. Or they can have free access for, 3 days. And then after that, they get moved to a certain level. So this could be the pay level. And then after 3 days, if they don't, upgrade, they get sent to the free level. Now that's limited. Then we have date range. You can specify a specific date and an end date. So this would typically oftentimes work only if you had like a certain sale going on. So if you wanted this to recur and be evergreen, this would not be necessarily ideal. Now, then you have regular periods. So this is like, 1 month or 3 months. And after they expire, they get moved over here. Now, in this case, I'm just going to do lifetime. And that's just access. We're not talking about billing options or anything like that at the moment. Now, then you have additional access settings. You have custom WordPress role. So what does this mean? This basically means that upon registration of a new user, what role do they have? Like, what kind of permissions do they have? Typically, you want to be default registration option or maybe something like a subscriber. You don't really want to give these like editor or author or anything like that unless you want to give people the option to edit parts of your site. Maybe you have a site filled with people who create content, right? And you want to set them as authors so that they can add content freely to your site. Maybe you're collaborating with them and you want to see what kind of content they're submitting, maybe a coaching site, for example. But you don't want to give them editor rights. That means that they can actually approve a post. You want to maybe give them author rights so that they can submit content, but at the end of the day, you approve it, or you want to give them some sort of level of permissions. So typically, the majority of you, it's going to be basic default register option. Basically, read rights. They don't have write rights. They have the ability to read it and to see it, but they can't edit it. Next, we have billing options. So as you can see, payment type is free or payment. So as you can see, if it's free, there's really nothing that you have to work with. Payment, of course, you will have other options as you can see here. So level price, let's say we want to do $17. And billing recurrences, you can do ongoing, you can do limited. So limited would mean like a fixed term membership site. What I mean by that is there are certain membership sites where you can set it to like 6 weeks only or 6 months only. If that's the case, then limited would be a good route to go. And you could say, okay, I want to do 6 times, 6 charges, 6 times. You can also do trial price, trial period, and you could say, I'm going to allow people to test it out as a trial, $1 for a certain period of time. Let's say normally 7 days, or you don't even need to have a trial at all. Now, if you choose, let's say ongoing, you can charge them an ongoing price. And you can go back up here if you want to do, let's say, every month. You could do every month. So limited, date range, regular period. You could do, say, 6 months. If you want it to go ongoing, obviously you can increase that cap. But this will be ongoing, so it'll charge people an ongoing price for $17 over and over again. Now, subscription plan details here. You can actually have this show up inside of the subscription plan. So if you want to put like call to actions or headlines or sales copy in here, you can. And of course, you have your price tags here. Now, if we go back here and you want to take a look at another example that might be simpler because it is paid level. So paid level, paid access. Level access is regular period. We have 1 month. And we can have, let's say they don't pay after the 1 month period. They expire, they get moved to the free level. I've specified everybody to be a subscriber. And then you have payment. The actual price of the payment is ongoing, and the trial period price is $1 for 7 days, and the price text, of course, is $27 since we have that up here, and that's pretty much it. Now, once you create your level, you can create buttons for those levels by going to the subscription plan showcase up here. And as you can see here, since we have 2 levels, we can see that one level is $0 and then the other one is $27. And the nice thing about this is they have different templates that you can pick and choose from. And for you advanced folks, they have a custom CSS here as well. Now, in order for the buttons to work, you do have to go to payment services and make sure that your payment processors, you click on these, you add the API information, and then of course it connects to these. So now that you understand the basics here, if you go back to levels, you will notice that under subscription link, it says this short code here and then your content here. This is a way to actually protect your content. And the way you do this is every page where you only want access to the paid access. Like, let's say page 1, you only want to give people access to page 1 if they are, paying members of that level. And then basically what you do is you put the shortcodes around the content. So if somebody of a different level tries to access that content, they will not be able to do that. Now, I'm going to show you in more depth in the next video when we talk about file and content protection. Hello and welcome to video number 5. We're going to talk about getting access to the plugin that we recommended. We're going to install it and we are going to configure it so that you can get started. So the installation process is really easy. All you have to do is simply go ahead, go to codecannon.net, purchase the plugin that we recommend for $30, and this is what you have. So you download it. You're going to see several folders. You're going to see a documentation folder. So if you ever get lost, you click on this file here, the index file, and it'll walk you through the process of installing and everything like that. But of course, I'm going to walk you through it anyways, so just you don't really need that. And of course, you'll have access to the Indeed-Membership-Pro plugin. So this is the plugin right here. And all you have to do is figure out the location of the plugin here. Next, you need to go to your WordPress site. So go back over here. And what you need to do is under plugins, click on add new. All right. So after that, you click on add new, you click upload, you'll be sent to this screen here. You click on choose file. Then what you need to do is locate the plugin, which is this one here. Click open, click install now, and that's it. So I've already installed it, so we're not going to go through that process. But once you've successfully installed it, you will see Membership Pro Ultimate WP down below on the left-hand side of your sidebar here. So if you click on this here, this is what you're going to see. So it's actually fairly simple once you get the hang of it. But what you see here is you're going to see the total members per level, the levels per transaction, and the last 5 registered users, and the last 5 transactions. So as you can see, we've installed this, so this is a clean slate, but this will give you an idea of your overall stats, which is nice to have, your earnings, your income, your total users, and more. So now up at the top here, if we zoom in, you can see users, which will allow you to see all your users. You can add users, you can edit the users, you can see the levels, which will allow you to access your free levels, your paid levels, any type of levels that you create. And of course, you got payment services where you can actually integrate with PayPal, Stripe, Authorize.net, and more. You have showcases, you have social logins, you have coupons, you have URL blocks, you have transaction notifications, opt-in settings, and of course, you have general options. Now, to begin, if you click on general options, you can see that you can create the default pages. So as you can see here, these are pages that you can create. So you can create login pages over here and then specify that, hey, this is the login page or this is the logout page. Another thing about the logout page is when somebody logs out, you can actually direct them to a page, and sell something else. You have your user account page. So you're obviously going to have to go ahead and go under pages and click add new. So pages, add new. And for example, the login page, you can create a new page here and then specify that over here. So if this is the login page, you can specify this here. Now, what's nice about this plugin is you can create things over here, but then over here in the pages editor, you can see you have MP locker and MP shortcodes. All right, so I'm going to talk more about this later on, but I just wanted to show you kind of an overview of how everything was laid out. So if we go back over to here, and we'll talk about that later on in the later videos, but I just want to show you an overview. But opt-in settings allows you to, integrate with Aweber, which is an autoresponder service, which allows you to build your list. MailChimp, similar, get response, campaign monitor, iContact, constant contact, and there's a lot more. So there's a good amount in here, and you really only need to pick and choose just one. In fact, I would recommend either Aweber or probably GetResponse if you can start out. Those tend to be online business friendly. MailChimp is also really good as well. But the only downside with MailChimp is, one thing to note is when you build your list of customers and you want to sell, let's say, somebody else's product as an affiliate product, a MailChimp does not like that. They only like it when you sell your own products. So keep that in mind for flexibility. Aweber tends to be a little bit more flexible. GetResponse tends to be flexible in that aspect. And MailChimp is good as well, but I would use that probably only if you were looking to, sell your product and then not really promote anyone else's product. But MailChimp is very high and well known, so your deliverability rates, of course, will be pretty high as well. So that's something that you're just going to have to weigh in. But you should only just use one. So with that said, now that you kind of understand a general overview, before we talk about levels, let's talk about payment services actually. So under payment services, if you click this will allow you to basically enter your information, your PayPal information, to get connected to PayPal. So as you can see, these are colored. So if I've already set up PayPal and Stripe, but if you were to set up, let's say to checkout, you click on this, you can press on. What you need to do with to checkout is you need to get your API username, API password, and all of this information. If you do have a to checkout account, you can ask them, what is your API username, password, and all this other information, and just fill it in. So once you fill this information in, it will automatically connect to the system. So it's actually very easy once you have this information, and this information will be given to you by the payment processor themselves. Next thing we have is inside lockers, and this allows you to lock the content within your WordPress posts and pages. Showcases basically allow you to create different forms like register forms, login forms, subscription plans, and account pages. And of course, social login allows you to connect to Facebook, Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, and all that, so that if somebody else has, let's say, for example, a Google account, they can simply click that and log in, and it's pretty much hands-free, allows them to log in really quickly. Then, of course, we have coupons, and coupons allows you to give discount coupons, which is definitely a must if you want to kind of do scarcity. Then, of course, we have URL blocks. You can literally, add a restriction. Like, let's say somebody tries to access a certain URL, a certain page, and you target a specific user or level, you can redirect them to a different page. So if somebody, let's say, is a free member and they're accessing like a paid link, like you put the paid URL here, and then you specify like free level, and you can redirect them to a specific page. So you can do something like that. Then we have transactions. Of course, this will be transactions. So as you make sales, these will actually show up. So as far as the other features go, a lot of them are actually built into the levels themselves. And I'll show you more about levels, how to create them, and all the other features within them later down the road.